Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with veteran jazz musicians John Lentz and Harvey Diamond. We talked to them about their new 2025 album, How Strange the Road Should Be So Easy, out on Orchard of Pomegranates Records. Harvey is a Boston legend and an unsung hero of the scene since the 60s. He was one of the last students of Lennie Tristano. On the other hand, John is a respected vocalist who's long been gigging around New England. He is a singer-singer, admired by the likes of Sheila Jordan and Jay Clayton. They have been friends and colleagues for years, and they finally came together. The music's wonderful. We get into all of it more. Enjoy.
Man, it's great to meet you. I'm looking forward to getting into the album, How Strange the Road Should Be So Easy. I'm curious, before we get into the project, you know, we're on the 5-year anniversary of the world shutting down for COVID, and I'm curious how much of living through that as a musician either influenced this album or what you guys do, your musical union.
You know, it was absolutely, I think, 100% due to COVID that we got together and to do this. Harvey and I knew each other from Vermont Jazz Center summer workshops and kind of being around the area, but hadn't spent a lot of time together. So anyway, come COVID, come about the fall of 2020 when it became obvious that things were not going to get back to normal anytime soon. And if you recall, at that time, live music was just basically verboten. You know, people getting together in groups, even small groups, was just not happening. And then live music especially. And especially for singers and horn players, you know, we were pariah. You know, our breath could spread the plague like wildfire, apparently, at that time. And so I gave Harvey a call. I live about 2 hours west of Harvey in western Massachusetts, and Harvey's here where we are today in Cambridge. And I gave Harvey a call, and I said, hey, how are you? Are you staying okay, and what's going on? And he said, yeah, you know, I'm playing almost every day. I got access to a nice piano and a little teeny experimental performing place, and nobody's around, and I play, and sometimes the horn player comes out and we play together. And I said, well, you're doing anything with a vocalist? And he says, hey, you want to come out and do something? And I said, oh yeah, you bet. So I drove over, I brought some charts. We stood about 12 or 15 feet away from each other. Opened up the window. It was November, a little chilly, but you know, you do what you can do. And we played a couple of hours, just jammed and had live music, real live music, and dug it, and decided to do it again the following week. And the following week decided to do it again the following week. And, do you have anything you want to add to that, Harvey?
No, I don't think so. I think that's how it happened, you know.
Yeah.
Primarily.
And then 4 years later, you know, after almost weekly, you know,
yes.
of getting together and just jamming. It was the thing that I really dug about it, for me at least, maybe Harvey too, but I'll try not to do too much of the talking. I'd like for him to put his golden words out as well. But, the thing that I really dug about it was that we were playing music together, but there wasn't any of this, oh, we've got a gig, oh, we've got a 3-hour gig, we need to put together a certain number of songs, oh, you know, the owner of the club likes to hear more bossa nova than swing, and so we need to it was like none of that stuff. We weren't trying to make anybody happy except ourselves. And so we just narrowed it down at that time to about 10 songs that we just played as many different ways as we could over the course of a couple of years.
Without planning anything. On how we were.
Which is beautiful. Yeah.
Which is the most important thing.
Yeah.
And you can't do that with everybody, because they look at you funny if you do that.
it is a little risky to go in there not knowing what's going to happen with the other musician, other than the fact that, like the consistent thing was Harvey would have a chart on the piano in front of him. And so I'd know the title of the song, and I'd know allegedly what key we're going to play in it. But sometimes he throws me a curveball and plays it in a different key, or actually 3 or 4 or 5 different keys, all on the same time. And he doesn't tell me he's going to do that. So who knows, or how he's going to do it. And sometimes a ballad becomes this crazy up-tempo thing, and sometimes the up-tempo becomes a ballad, and and sometimes we just take it apart and hopefully put it back together. And with the good times, we kind of look at each other, and Harvey will do his laugh and say, that was kind of fun. And sometimes he'll say, oh, we should have recorded that. And then other times we'll kind of look at each other and go, oh, glad we didn't record that one.
So how good?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's like, obviously when you play jazz, you improvise. But in this case, it was just like improvising the whole thing. Not just you play the tune and then you improvise, but it was sort of being improvised right out front from the beginning. I mean, we didn't say how we were going to do it, in what way we were going to do it, when this was going to happen, where or there. We just played and just let the music speak for itself in terms of how it was all going to come together. We didn't plan any endings, any beginnings. So it'd be like saying the whole program is improvised. And usually I know when I do concerts that's what we do. We just make sure everybody knows the tune. But how we're going to do it and what's going to happen when is just left up to the feeling of the moment. And you can't do that with everybody. Just certain people seem to be very cool with that. Others, a lot less cool. And so I think that's how we kind of approached it.
That's actually how we approached recording the album.
That's right.
We knew what tunes we were going to put down, but the arrangement, and it came up
right at the moment.
Right at the moment.
Which is what jazz really is.
Yeah. Well, and that's what strikes me. It seems like the most planned part of this whole union is that this is actually an album now. So my question to you, especially on this kind of anniversary of everything shutting down with live shows happening and albums being released, on a visceral level, how does it feel to kind of christen this time together and release this album?
Say that once more.
How does making this album, how does it feel to christen this time that you've had together playing music, to actually have this product, to have this album to give to people?
Well, for me, this is the first album, so I'm really excited. And I'm especially excited because you use the term christening, I think. And yeah, I felt like the music that Harvey and I made together and how we made it together over this period of time, and over COVID especially, was very special. And I really wanted to sort of invite people into the room, so to speak, so they could get some sense of what it felt like for us to be able to make that music. And so I was thinking the other day that the album itself for me is kind of like a fly in amber. if you've ever seen that jewelry or seen that stone called amber, and sometimes there'll be a fly crystallized inside it, and there it is. There's that moment, but it's set in stone now. So it was very much in the moment when we recorded it, and I hope that feeling comes across. People can get a sense that it may be a little rough around the edges. Hopefully not too rough, but a little rough around the edges. But that's sort of on purpose.
I would say the other thing is that it's just voice and piano, which you don't really hear that often. No other instruments, no rhythm section, no anything, which is nice. Doesn't happen that much.
Yeah.
It reminds me of there was an album that Abbey Lincoln made that I think just with Hank Jones. And there's been some albums where it's just been voice and piano. So that also was a nice scene just to be able to do it that way. And that leaves the maximum amount of freedom in a certain way for anything to happen musically without being locked in so much, like if we had a bass player or a drummer, which is cool too, But still, voice and piano is nice. I like it. I've always liked playing duos, horn player and piano, but voice and piano is nice. I mean, I've been playing for vocalists since I'm 9 years old. In California, where I was born, we had a quartet with a vocalist. I've done a lot of that, and that's not so much over the last 15 years, but pretty much, So I think that was.
I was just going to say, I'm curious, how does the chemistry work between you two? Why is this musical union something that works, that makes sense, that has impelled you to stay together and make this music?
I don't think we knew that out front without first doing it and then seeing how it felt. And you never really totally know that. Sometimes, and it just worked, That's all you can say, is that it happens spontaneously, and that's the way the music is, which is what I think, that's what I would call jazz, really, in a certain way.
I think for me, Harvey's been playing in public for since he was 9, I guess.
Yeah,
or something like that. Yeah. And for me, not so many years. Some here and there, former street musicians and stuff like that. But jazz has been fairly new. I'm less than 15 years into it. I'll be closer to 10 or 12 or something. And to hang out and play with Harvey, the thing that I've never said this to you, but the thing for me is that you're so non-judgmental. When we're done with a tune, we don't even talk about it. Like, oh, that worked, or oh, too bad this, or oh, well, that was really great. There's none of that stuff, We don't talk about it. We don't talk it down before we play it, and we don't talk it up or talk it out or whatever it would be after we're done. Sometimes we'll nod at each other like, yeah, most of that worked. We'll say or something. And like I was saying earlier, the biggest compliment that I get from Harvey is for him to say every now and again. You probably, in the last 4 years, you probably said it at least 5 or 6 times, which is, oh, we should have recorded that one.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and I get like, oh, we were firing on all cylinders and just doing it and listening. There's a lot of listening that goes on. That's the deal, and having a good conversation. It's, you know, there's one thing to have a listening and have a conversation with, like Harvey was saying, a combo with the bass player and drums, bass player, drums and horn, or whatever it is. But that's a lot of listening, and there's a lot of talking, if you will, that goes on there too. But the best conversations, don't you think, Joe, are just two people getting together and like putting their hearts into it, and one person says what's really on their mind and really in their heart, and the other one says, yeah, I hear you. Here's what that makes me think about. You know, and that's the music. That's how the music seems to work for me.
Well, the other part of it is John was a physician's assistant. So if I needed any medical procedures...
No. Not true. That's not true.
No, I know.
But we did have numerous conversations about what the best mask to wear would be when we were out in public. Well, should I wear two of these masks or maybe just one of these?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
Right.
So if anybody wants to pick up this album in the best way that would benefit you or catch you guys live, any of the good business in your world, where can they go?
The album is in pre-order right now on Bandcamp. And so they can go to Bandcamp, Google, or search for the title of the album, How Strange the Road Should Be So Easy, and pre-order it. But its actual release date is next Friday, the 21st of March. Are you going to broadcast this album, or I'm sorry, this interview, Joe? Is that how this is going to go? Is that what you're going to do?
Yeah, I'm gonna package this up and I'll put it out on my channels, and then I will profile you on the show with clips from this interview.
Okay, so as of today, the 13th, Thursday the 13th of March, next week on Friday the 21st on Bandcamp at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time is a listening party that also marks the official release of the album, and the album can be the electronic download or a CD can be purchased on Bandcamp on that day. And as I was saying, as of right now, either of those can be pre-ordered on Bandcamp as well. And we have our debut gig together the following. The following week after that, which is Saturday the 29th, we will be in Montreal and playing. Harvey's going to do a workshop for a master class for jazz singers at 2:30 in the afternoon, and from 5 to 7 we're going to be playing together at a little bistro called La Petite Marche in Montreal, Quebec. So that's where we can be seen live, and we have some other ideas of some places, hopefully coming up in Cambridge, but nothing at this moment. I do have a trio that I started playing with piano and bass out in Western Massachusetts, but nothing to speak about right now in terms of traveling on the road. We'd love to. Fishing for invites. Get in touch with us.
Kansas City.
Here we
That's the word.
Kansas City.
Yeah, man.
I mean, that's the place. So.
Going to Kansas City.
Yes.
Or other places. Who knows?
Yeah.
So we're we're not a touring group at this moment, but the album will be available, and we will be in Montreal on Saturday, March 29th, La Petite Marche, masterclass with Harvey and vocalists from 2:30 to 4, and then from 5 to 7 performance. Harvey Diamond and John Lentz.
Okay, perfect. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Thank you for taking a minute out. Thank you for talking about the project, and best of luck with it.
Thank you for your interest, Joe, and thanks for keeping jazz alive out there, man. Stay safe.
Beautiful. Take care.
You.
Thanks for listening and tuning into another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players and minds in Boston, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to both John and Harvey for their time and cool. If you want to hear more Neon Jazz interviews, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to us at YouTube, and for everything Neon Jazz, go to theneonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Smooth road, smooth road.
Neon Jazz.
Hello, friends. Joe Domino here. I just wanted to let you know that after 30 years or so, I have finally released my first book of poetry through the mighty Spartan Press here in Kansas City, Missouri. As the creator and host of both Neon Jazz Radio and the Famous Interviews with Joe Domino podcast, along with being a visual artist, I'm ready to embark on a new adventure and want you to be a part of it. You can get a copy online via Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and actually on the streets in Kansas City at the great Prospero's bookstore off 39th Street. You can also visit joedomino.com for links to the book, to more poetry, and everything in my world, including paintings. Thanks for all of the love and support over the years, and please dig the words.